Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so honored to have with us today Kelly Shea. She's the Global Sustainability Program and Project Manager for Symantec Corporation. Welcome to Green is Good, Kelly Shea.
Thank you, John. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm actually a huge fan.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say that. Well, we're a fan of yours, and we're so honored to have you on, that you're taking your time today to describe everything that's going on at your great company. But before we get to that, we've got so many listeners around the United States and around the world that look to our show for inspiration, to our guests for inspiration. A lot of young people who either want to become the next ecopreneurs out there, or they want to be the next Kelly Shea. So can you share your journey and your story on a little bit on your youth and growing up and coming to this position?
Well, John, I have a background in architecture and project management, and I transitioned into sustainability when I realized that not all business leaders really think about environment and community when making decisions. Right. So the tipping point for me was really a transition into sustainability happened when I had a client who thought throwing away 40 tons of office furniture and supplies to landfill was the cheapest and best decision. So in the first phase of the project, I diverted 4 tons of furniture just to engineers within the company who just needed spare parts. And I realized that some business leaders weren't thinking systemically. So I decided to go back to school and obtain my MBA to learn how to develop the business case for sustainability.
Wow. And was it easy then? Was there a good education program? Because I know sustainability MBAs have become hot now, but when you decided to make the switch and pivot in your career, was there a lot of opportunities?
There weren't a lot of opportunities, but there were several really good programs locally, and I looked at Dominican University, and that's where I ended up going.
Great.
They really have a grassroots, very environmentally focused program, and we really looked at systems and leadership and working in groups and psychology of business, and I think that's really helped build and develop relationships.
Got it. Well, that's great. And for our listeners out there, I'm on your wonderful website, and I want our listeners, if they want, take out your iPad or your tablet, and you could follow along like I am right now. It's www.symantec.com. And then if you want to click on the corporate responsibility section, it's beautiful. It's chock full of a ton of information. Kelly, share a little bit about your role. You're the Global Sustainability Program and Project Manager at Symantec. What does that really mean in reality? What are you doing every day?
So I've been at Symantec for the last 5 years, and I've really been partnering with the corporate responsibility team, helping manage and drive the global sustainability vision and strategy. And really, what we're trying to do is address regulatory compliance, greenhouse gas inventory, data center energy efficiencies, our go-to-market strategy in relation to sustainability in our products, operational impacts like LEED, any nonprofit partnerships, and we try to engage with internal and external stakeholders.
Wow, and so
that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, well, that's a lot, and I'm on your corporate responsibility snapshot. It is massive. I mean, first of all, is a compendium of all of your reports right here online, which I love, the transparency and the fact that other people and corporations can get inspired by it, from everything dating back to 2008, your green initiatives, and covering everything to diversity and ethics and governance and green IT. Go into a little bit about what today in 2013, what's your corporate responsibility mission, and how does sustainability really fit in?
Well, Symantec's mission now includes a corporate responsibility message, which is Symantec is committed to a positive social impact and operating with integrity and respect for the environment. So how does sustainability fit in? Well, we conduct a materiality analysis, which you see in that report, and we do it every year. And the results are listed there on that website. You have to dig around a little bit. There is a lot of information. But for those listeners who are not familiar with this tool, a materiality analysis is a process of prioritizing issues, risks, and opportunities using stakeholder inputs and company insights. So it becomes a really important tool when you're talking about integrating sustainability into our core business and strategy. So we compile all the information regarding several different topics of interest from various sources. And this would include investor and customer requests, media coverage, anything around peer reports or industry and trade association documents, internal and external surveys. I mean, there's just a ton of information that goes into this materiality analysis. And then we started doing this in 2008, and climate change has been one of the top 3 most significant corporate responsibility issues identified every year. So it's definitely important.
And so I see here the list, like you said, goes back from May 2008 till right now, June 2013. Did you start this when you came in 5 years ago? Is this by design? When they brought you in and you took this important position and role, then you were the one who started publishing these?
Oh, that's a great question. No, I wish I could take credit for that. But we have a really solid corporate responsibility team here, and it was started there. And what my role has done is come in and really taken those key important initiatives that are identified by our stakeholders, including climate change, but other environmental issues like energy and water and waste, and really implementing them into the core structure of Symantec.
So then can you describe them for our listeners, what your sustainability program looks like on a macro basis?
So we're really committed to environmental responsibility. As I mentioned, it's really important to all our investors and stakeholders. In terms of our company program, it really starts with our environmental policy statement, which is also online, and it outlines our 4 key initiatives. And then from that policy statement, we implement an EMS, which is an environmental management system. And this EMS has really helped us to promote a systematic and planned and comprehensive documented approach to management of these 4 key environmental initiatives within our corporate structure. And the EMS is a tool that really delivers continuous improvement, performance, ways to manage and measure sustainability, and it creates business value, which ensures at a minimum our legal compliance as a standard.
Got it. So I'm online now, and I'm just looking at one of your approaches. And can you explain to our listeners a little bit, like, what's this approach that I see here, GRI and UNGC? Can you explain a little bit what that means? Because I wasn't familiar with it, but it's fascinating what I'm looking at here online.
Sure. So the GRI is one of several entities that Symantec reports our environmental and corporate responsibility information. And really these 4 initiatives that I mentioned that are on the website feed into the GRI and the CDP, the Carbon Disclosure Project, and several different other nonprofits or groups that collect data to help investors make decisions or consumers make decisions about a good, well-rounded company. And those 4 initiatives are green IT, responsible sourcing, resource conservation, and travel and events. And really, I love talking about green IT, which is the first initiative in that environmental policy statement on our website.
Yeah.
And it really includes 2 parts, and this is important for the GRI.
Yeah.
It includes 2 parts, which is really our products. How are we environmentally friendly with our products? What services do we provide our customers? And our internal IT operational infrastructure. So Symantec's biggest environmental impact, when you read those reports like the GRI and CDP, you'll see that energy consumed by our data centers is just, that's our main priority because it is such a big impact for Symantec. In the grand scheme of things, we're not a big polluter. So, in terms of the United States, data centers actually represent 2% of the total electricity use, which is quite significant. But again, Symantec is not a big polluter in this space. So for us, we really try to focus on all initiatives, including water and waste. But Green IT, we've just, in our CDP report, we've just started talking about providing our customers with high-efficiency data centers, which support our storage or cloud computing infrastructure. And really, what cloud is it's a way that we host and manage our customers' information.
So this is interesting, Kelly. Let me just pause you. For our listeners out there, I've got Kelly Shea on with us. She's the Global Sustainability Program and Project Manager for Symantec, one of the great brands and iconic brands in the world. And Kelly just does great work, and we're so honored to have her on with us right now. And we're on their website, just so you can follow along here. It's www.symantec.com, and we're on the environmental performance section. And this is really interesting stuff, Kelly, as you point out. So under the IT data center, there's all these other bullet points, as you've said. So server efficiency, storage efficiency, data deduplication, and desktop power management. So there's a huge energy savings, as you say, by being more efficient in these areas and running systems that are more environmentally friendly. You get to make a huge impact in this IT data center area, huh?
It's pretty exciting, I have to tell you. And for those of you that don't know what a data center is, because I get this question quite a bit, a data center is basically a room that contains servers. And a server, in the simplest form, is a piece of equipment which stores information like emails and photos and a whole lot more.
Right.
But basically, if our customers are not in the business of data centers and they purchase the equipment and have a data center, that's just a lot for them to manage when it's not a huge part of their business. So by offloading that onto Symantec and using our services, cloud storage services, then we have efficient operations. So it makes it much a better business value for customers to be using our really efficient data centers, our efficient equipment, and using those services to not only reduce their environmental footprint, because when they're not using energy for their own data centers, they're making us provide those services. They reduce their energy environmental footprint. They reduce their real estate portfolio and their greenhouse gas emissions. So it's a really good deal for our customers.
This is really great. So we're going to go through these 4 areas because this is so brilliant how you've broken this out, Kelly, and how you've made this so easy to understand. So Green IT is critical. IT data centers, where there's a huge pickup and energy resources savings. Now, do you want to move on and we want to talk about what's on your how you've listed it here? Conservation.
So conservation really includes resource conservation. So that's energy, water, waste from our facilities. We really focus on operational efficient strategies and use programs like LEAD. We just rolled out a global waste reduction program, which was really incredible and identified that there's a lot of waste infrastructure in different states and countries that don't have a really good, solid, strong composting program. So we've realized that if we can improve the local infrastructure, we can also help our buildings divert more waste from landfill.
So let's go through this. First of all, on the LEED issue, this is becoming such a hot topic, and I know you're an expert in green building and LEED certification. Is that something that you work on in terms of getting the buildings that you operate in and house in your Symantec LEED certified?
Absolutely. We are so proud of our LEED program. We achieved 3 LEED certifications this past year, including our first platinum certification in Culver City, California, which is the highest rating. We now have 20 LEED certified buildings and 21 certifications, which represent about 80% of our eligible real estate portfolio. Now, 20 probably isn't a lot to some companies, but for a mid-sized company like Symantec, I think that's pretty good. We really use LEED as a baseline framework to educate our staff. Going through the certification process has really engaged our engineers, our building engineers, and other staff members who contribute to certification. And it's this educational program has really brought about a global understanding, a way for engineers and others to speak the same sustainability language and talk about streamlining their operations in the same way. It creates this global consistency and a way for engineers to share their ideas, their successes and failures. So LEED really focuses on, there's several different areas. There's sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, materials and resources. There's indoor environmental air quality.
Wow.
And there's another really fun section, which is innovation and operations. And that can be anything like renewable energy or a new innovative project.
You know, since you're such an expert on this, and I'm not, I just have to ask you this, Kelly, is LEED an international certification program now? So if you say LEED in Paris and LEED in London and LEED in Culver City, everyone's on the same page with regards to LEED Platinum, LEED Gold, LEED Silver, all that?
It is an international program now. It started in the U.S. We do have facilities in Ireland and India, and the UK that are LEED certified, which is pretty exciting.
That's so exciting.
We're working on a building currently in China that we've been working on for about 2.5 years now. So it's a long process for LEED in some areas, and I think that's why there's so much pride around this program.
That is so great. And then also on I see under conservation, you talk about paper, energy, and recycling. Can you just touch on those besides the LEED, which you did such a great job platforming? Touch on just how you affect and the changes you've made with regards to your company and with regards to paper, energy, and recycling.
Responsible sourcing is a huge focus for us right now. We try to purchase environmentally preferable products with reputable certification and labels like FSC certified paper. We try to purchase paper with recycled content. We're looking at biodegradable products. It would be amazing to have our products packaged in biodegradable paper that employees and customers and shareholders could just really throw out their window into their backyard, and it would degrade. It would be amazing. But that's a long way out for us. We work with different vendors around, how are they managing their services? Are they Energy Star certified or rated?
Right.
Are they LEED certified? How are they managing their energy efficiency and the services that they provide us?
That's so interesting. Kelly, from a practical point of view, you're touching so many important issues with regards to LEED, energy, recycling, energy efficiency, like we talked about in your Green IT section. Are you constantly interacting with other global sustainability program managers across the United States and world, trading best practices? Just as a practical corporate matter, is that a lot of or part of what your role is?
Absolutely. I think it's really fun in the sustainability space because although sustainability provides a competitive market edge, people in this space seem to be much more open to sharing. It's fun discussing what other people are doing in their jobs, and we talk to anyone in our sector, and we also talk to different people in maybe areas that don't really apply. We don't have a huge manufacturing department, so we do talk to companies that do have a lot of products and a lot of manufacturing. So it's interesting because you can gain ideas from their experiences even though it's not the same business.
Got it. I get it. So now let's talk about another section out of these four: responsible software, packaging, and delivery, which is really the software delivery process. Talk a little bit about how you're able to move the needle and make a difference, and Symantec's able to make a difference in this segment.
Sure. I touched on it a little bit with trying to go biodegradable with our packaging. But I think, this is not a new area. A lot of companies are doing this. You see this with Walmart. You see this with a lot of different companies that, you just try to reduce your packaging, trying to reduce the size, which we've done year over year, trying to bring in and introduce new types of materials that have less plastic, more recycled content, trying to look at our supply chain vendors in terms of transportation. Are they using fuel-efficient vehicles? Where are they storing our products? Are they overcooling the warehouses that our products are in? How are they delivering it to our customers? Are they doing it by plane, by electric car? So there's a lot of different avenues around our supply chain that we've been doing year over year. So this really isn't a new space for us or the sustainability industry, but it's definitely something we're whittling away on and trying to improve year over year.
This is fascinating. And explain to me what this means here, because I'm just so interested in the efficiencies that this brings. What do you mean by online delivery? What did that replace, and how did that interrelate with sustainability, just so our listeners can understand that?
Online delivery is I think something that is just going to keep increasing year over year.
Right.
So before the internet really blew up and became big, people were going to the store and buying boxes of Symantec's products like Norton Antivirus.
Right.
Now today, more than 80% to 90% of our customers actually purchase online. So we're saving all of that supply chain that I just described about the delivery of the products and the spaces that our products are housed and all of that. So it really saves all of that extra environmental footprint.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. And that's a perfect segue to the last environmental footprint out of the four, transportation. Can you talk a little bit about, we know now how you're doing that with the online delivery and all the carbon footprint with regards to people driving to stores, driving home, the warehouses and all that other stuff. Talk a little bit about the transportation segment that also falls under your area with regards to employee commuting, Halo conferencing, and then business travel, which is, of course, very big.
We definitely track our business travel, and again, this is nothing new for the typical company. But now, in the last couple years, we've introduced preferable environmental choices for our employees around renting cars, making sure that they have the choice to, if it's available, rent an electric or hybrid or fuel-efficient car instead of just having the first rental car come up as an SUV. So we're really trying to change behavior in terms of that space. We also encourage our employees, there's a ton of different commuting programs that we have available in terms of taking the bus or the train. So we try to promote those different initiatives. And then we also have video conferencing, which is great when you have non-essential business travel. You can just pop on your video conferencing, and we have different tools that we enable our employees to use. What's new this year, and I'm really proud of, is we had an employee who decided that they're responsible for our large events and external-facing customer events. And they came to me and said, hey, you know what, it would be great if we could make our events sustainable. And so now, as a part of the employee business travel and commute, we've added on events to it, and we had our first sustainable conference last year in Barcelona, and we're just really proud of this particular employee who just wanted to take it to the next level, and they've done an incredible job. There's a report online there next to our corporate responsibility report, and it's pretty intense.
Kelly, at the top of the show, you mentioned that when you pivoted in your career, you got an MBA in sustainable enterprise. And I get, with Green is Good the last 4 years, we've been so lucky and honored to have so many great people on the show, from the NRDC to the sustainability officers from Walmart and Coors and big and small. Like, how so many issues with regards to sustainability are under your tent, and it's so fascinating how many segments over at Symantec you get to touch and how many areas you get to really effectuate change. How has your MBA, because I always love, since so many young people listen to the show, to tie education to real change and leadership, how has your education in sustainable enterprise affected your role at Symantec?
I can't tell you how important it's been. It's really it's been significant. getting my MBA was not on my radar at all when I was growing up. I was focused on design and becoming an architect, and business was really secondary. So when I went back to school to get my MBA, I realized there's this whole other language. There's this business language, and Dominican University really focused on a visionary and strategic way of thinking, and they framed it with innovative concepts and managing risk and capturing business value and really helping business leaders see what sustainability is all about from a business perspective and not just it's the right thing to do. I really learned how to lead effective teams and execute holistic organizational programs in really complex environments. It's kind of like owning your own business within Symantec. I've really tried to develop relationships and encourage people to buy into sustainability because there is a value to it.
Well, I want to stop you there because that's a great point. You're an amazing champion. I love your energy. I love what you're doing there. How do you, though, then get other Symantec employees engaged in sustainability issues and initiatives and get them going and moving the needle, just like you explained about that other employee who took it upon himself to want to green one of your big events? How do you get employee engagement and buy-in when you're the champion inside the whole company?
You know, it's been a challenge, but I work with so many great people that help me with this initiative. You really find people within the company that are passionate about it, and you make them become leaders. There's three ways that I try to engage different people within the company. One, we have a team that works with the CEO and board. Two, throughout the company, we engage key stakeholders and leaders who are really passionate, like I mentioned, or that have jobs already in spaces that create an environmental impact of some sort. And we use the EMS program, which I mentioned earlier, the Environmental Management System. And that's of about 80 stakeholders that we engage with. And then at a bottom level or middle or top, there's a grassroots level where we engage green teams, which are volunteer employees who are passionate, and they come to me and ask me how they can make a difference. And that's that story about that particular employee who wanted to green our events.
We're down to the last 2 minutes, Kelly, and I want you to just share your vision. You've done a lot in the last 5 years. It's frankly breathtaking, all the areas that you touch. I'm literally blown away, and I'm sure you've inspired so many of our listeners. But what's your goals? What's Symantec's goals in sustainability over the next year, and what's your vision for the future in the sustainability space in general?
Sure. Well, I appreciate it, John. Thank you. We've worked really hard to be at this point today. There's so much we've done, but we do have a long way to go. As I mentioned before, we're really focused on energy because that is our biggest impact. And this past year, we made a public goal of achieving power usage effectiveness, or PUE, which is it's a measurement that measures efficiencies in data centers. And this past year, we achieved a 1.7, which a PUE of 1 is ideal and a PUE of 2 is average. So I know this is it's not a metric that is anything new, but it's a way at a high level for us to focus on energy efficiency in our data centers and be able to communicate it with our upper management. And it's really important because our office spaces consume about 70% of energy that's dedicated just to data centers. So this energy management is extremely vital for our company short-term and long-term. In terms of long-term, we're just continuing to embed corporate responsibility into our core business strategy and trying to get every employee to engage and be a part of this in anything that they do. It's really a day-to-day opportunity that people can see and get involved in. We work to institutionalize environmental management throughout our company, as I mentioned, through the EMS. And there's just a ton of opportunities, and we are just going to continue to manage and monitor our climate change impacts in different regions and environmental footprint in different regions. and focus on our supply chain.
Well, if you want to learn more about Symantec, go to www.symantec.com. Click onto their corporate responsibility section. Kelly Shea, you're an inspirational sustainability leader and truly living proof that green is good.